Half a day, buenas tardes, guahu si Emily Guerrero Sablan. Tau tujo na mapoksay sa nanaho dyan tataho si Maria Guerrero Sablan dan Jose Pangilinan Sablan.
Apa mafaniago mo, Miss Emily?
Enero 24, um, 1950, 1950.
Okay, maulit. Pois guau si Teresita Flores. Sa guau para bel finaisi esti na question. Pues tatutuhun, no?
Bueno,
Pues ilik na ini amano na mafaniago haw. Diyan amano na dumangkulu haw.
mafaniago jo gi sa okatamuning gi Naval Hospital da mapoksay tujo.
Hafa tayo mano na humalum haw gi militat. Diyan hafa na ramas.
Gi tempo ane matutu tati ganan escuela gi da San Diego matutu tati ane estado para 20 años. Guina tempo bula pamalawan guahan mahanhan ni popan Harlem sa guaho un recruiter ganan tata Hawaii na nesi Rita Palafox da itseluhu amko niya kiguahu pinena malago umalum lo kalanat sa na istorya sa sitatahu te sedi edu na tseluhu para halum amko niya kiguahu lo ane guahu mamaisin a sedi au pos ana yu sitatahu ni idanya go ahead I support tijo the Magucho. I am so grateful Magucho na asedicho sa it has done nothing but good for me. To di pinalupan ni hinalomo malik para ko estapago.
Hafa na ramas na maluma.
Gi army lo separat sa U.S. Women's Army Corps. Ano man ma basic training ang pura pamalawan. Tiko ed gina tempo. Timandada na ilalaki sa pamalawan. Pas U.S. Women's Army Corps veterans.
Ginin exhibition mo ano malo mo gi militar no gi army le mo na ramas. Kusinya un impacti di experience mo gi tinituhon exhibition mo.
Ano manaw gini gi Matsushita gi 1962 ate kalan maanyo na pabay taigwi gi familia ko dani todo di mam I padzonno na manatungo lo esta garen lagu jo ja musa muskelan I high school jo gi san lagu per matu mag pues no malum jo pues I think the excitement of what to expect apa pa be falupani lo ane matu guatugui uli na tigwahwa mo no tigap todo sa mandanya ja idang Gracia na mapolojo na kompanya quatram na pamalawan tomorrow gi un company but let's just put it this way we had a blast so we had each other to hold on to from the missing home mistreatment man manapansasangem lo we had each other and so we pulled through we pulled through
Zafa siya na class in training on receiving.
todo klase todi mapalafani lalahi manafan malafanam from the night march to PT aji man malagu, man physical training, man Hudson o ten Galumtano, Alabama. Ja naturally sa todo sam na kwarto na pamalawan panay nesa na man holumam Galumtano pa ben manuli hutujan sina nambia, and that's as much jungle training we've had. So it was an adventure.
Pues usaha na todo klase training parewa dyan nilalahi.
But todi basic training pareho mangat go rucksack, mangat go duffel bag, a gas chamber, solo para pon jamo MOS, jamo military occupational specialty. Edja na sampi gana mana panggo teopaki. Lo parahami ni just basic training, just learning the ropes, discipline, the do it their way, not your way. The 8 weeks of that is what you learn. Just the discipline of the military, their protocol, and the your military bearing. So
Pues ko humano para Vietnam.
Here, Tiumano in country, Vietnam, man masanganya am na you have to be ready sa sinya man manisita ham to, and in my specialty, mine was communication. Communication center, the puro top secret. I had a NATO top secret clearance, but again, during the classes, you're needed everywhere. Everywhere that there's a military base, they need communication people. To Malumo, my job took me right to the fields. My job specialty takes me directly to the field because we can get reports. When I worked at the Fort Monroe Command, TRADOC Command Headquarters Communication Center, we get a report called Field Casualty Report. So it's almost like being there because the Field Casualty Report tells you everything of what happened to that soldier. Very graphic report. It explains everything when taigwi lunya or taigwi tatautanya. Pasutungo na man mafatumagi na tatautaw ang gengwaha pinatay na militar. Edo nagwa natin mababa sa Ticabalis.
Pues enigwi kalan makat na experience mo? O mas makat na experience mo?
Sige, mas makat para ko sa puditi, I'm not living in English, I'm not a morning person. Todo tempo bumalintatario for swing shift or midnight shift. Pues hasuna Amerika puengi daytime gi Vietnam. Pues sige na ora na manahalom sa na report sa man matututo gi Vietnam i militar dito na manahano. Pues makat para guahu sa utungo tanaan niya. Utungo is the National Security at that time. Thought everybody's in Guam. Thought Social Security matutuhon 586. They must makan ane umanahalami report siya. Pues sempre tay sa babeli of the classification ko unclassified or secret or often na pabinahano na lista uli inaani tiuhu Crisologo Cruz después 586 Izonia the president from Guam na he was one of the casualty. Te mahongi ki zoku section chief na todo tungo stisa na tauta. Lo makan na tipon tungo sa tibisinumo selun gatsongmo sa high school Dosa George Washington then JFK and then of course GCC at that time. Pas manasuwa jo gina tempo sa man maasi to this day it's a section chief Gaigi New Jersey the fiwa commento samsa he finds it therapeutic to talk to me sa gwisa ganun malum Vietnam the matutati Fort Monroe Virginia just in a Manhamigi Communication Center. So he finds it therapeutic to talk to someone who went through those times, even though he was already out of the field. Lo ali'i kita gwahu na kontorgo na perfecta ni tata no gata Vietnam. But hamin eman ma consider ham na Vietnam era vets ham kontori pamalaan masati manhalaman.
Esta kulan puenti tinampia di estina questioni otru nile nga hafa guaha na tristi dan hafa guaha ni na maguf the experience mo kui
Itunisti edi I Chago o mampus untunga hadestina tau I taigwi lo at least masoda Edzige na maguf Paraguahugi in such a tumultuous time is masoda sa guaha edzina report iman matolum na kanaiha or pidasan tatau pasan an matumagi edzina guanati mababa ia taut sa pudi punum malii sa benti edzai dokter muna ma confirm na gwita si tata. Pues na maguf jangan alis masoda tata tana sa mana ano para po na descansa ki maulik na manera kana po missing in action. Yep.
Unsangan na estalo sangan talo ni hafa siya otru na samoro ni ali'e mo guhihilig mo kalan unsangan na gitinituhon lo.
Gi basic training man magufam sa kwatram na famalaw on samoro manapandanya gi uno na kompanya. It was the worst thing they did. So at that time, bula I discrimination apaka against atilung. Give basic training. Pasura man mafaisin. Whose side are you gonna be on? In Athena, Pagana, no side. You see, we're brown. You guys are fighting black and white. We don't belong in any. We did go through that. Remember, it was 1972. Pagugim Civil Rights Act, manapan malulupan. Hamitan na nakugupan nalun mami, nisina otilungam lo hapastige panulina managwini. Sa parasiya na manapaka gilago. Antio paka pues otilungaw. Pues hasta que siguen pago, magwentos pinut samoro. And and I'm like, oh, they're different. Pues viva como en esta matungo na mantauta Guam hamda. I always anima esan samoro sangani famaguon. Your language can be used in self-defense. Ma atana ole kuya. It's a way you can vent without them knowing what you just said. But then isa duna kahamina kwatru. Como sige man adaga lenga haanay. Si babay lune gigatu. We vent while protecting ourselves. Nobody can decipher what we said. And we do not use it to hurt people, but to let it out and get over it. But si kwatru na tomorrow, unu tatau mata si difunta esta, Pat Ogun, Patricia Ogun, Tata Tamuning, Elenita Rivera, Tata Kanyada, si Josephine Kitugua, then Guahuni Tata Toto. And we helped each other through.
Pues mana espia hamzu todo tempo.
Manahamigi Barracks, unu maulik mamali zapatos, pues bija todi zapatos. Gua mauliku mamensa, pues gua todi penensa, gua unu maulik man adgidun uniform, pues guisa. Pues di maulik manalekra put locker guisa nuza. Pana added them, so we needed to make it through that 8 weeks.
Ko gua especial na okasyon, utungwa na tiumano pa Vietnam daw nungu buenti put ane matu si gobyerno no si Governor Camacho. Sangan di hafa mo put adso hafa sinintiniya sendalo ni mangay gigwi. Jani sinintin medyo loki masyama na ibiam sa Vietnam. No eno na hinaso.
Unggan sa gua atungo gagi danang ja estaganen avanasakan na mano si Governor 71 panaan. Anyway, estas din atungo ganen dinansi ja manahano pag guamim Aminevo Hospital. Pasane matutati magu sa lote alii panaan tiumano alii sa tagu na staba si Governor Camacho dan malepajo Johnny Sablano mano. Yes. Man magu fam na atsogi ju igobernador sa para ejo na tempo di o tada gobernador matupos peto tona ekay presidente lo tu hasu lo maulik bidane igobernador na humano ni prepo na panmago sa panan during Christmas gwi na matu si gobernador. Pues matugam dan sindalon sa moron estaba gwi na tempo ja ilingnya na it was a big, they were so proud of our governors looking out for the boys there. Yeah, that made us feel good too back then. The dipotuli igwato siya panaan manuli siya no regalo dyan nengkano gato para pamilalahita gwi. So that was a very historical moment for that time. Although it did not make national news, Nuzulo in the Chamorro communities across the nation, that hit home, and it was a really heartfelt feeling for our kids, for our boys. They were young, bula man hoben at that time. Guau 22 años sa ubi na tempo.
Unsangan distitutuhon na hago malago umalom gi militar no. Timakon niya lo hafa undanangan experience antes yun halom gi militar. Hafa sinintemo po di militar, e después hafa na experience ane magahit na humalo mo Jaung senti experience mo gi militar. Apa sangan dididik padazu?
Okay. Si tatahu retired gi Navy si tatahu ante de be mafanyaugu. He was in the Navy from 1919 and retired in 1949. Was I guess you can say I'm a military brat. Sa gaya edikatu at 10 years old, estas tatahu retired. Anujo. But military for us was a way of life. Out of my father's 8 children, 5 of us joined. 5, 3 na Lockheed and 2 na Palawan. Pues como pa maat, torudui itan mami didi to 14, possibly 110 years giun familia. Pues we were a strong military family. The animalagu malum I doselu lahi asangani si tatahu na tata mungai manilufa malaan manapan halum gimilitan jai lenga si tatahu sa hafa lenga sa timalik man masangani niya tata gi famalawan ni manahalum galum gimilitan dos esta gi Navy. But besides, I don't want to find any of my sisters on my ship. But esta smart Alec Mafu, and I get like, don't worry, you won't find me in a ship because I'm going in the army. So, tita asked that. But si luhu amko, lenga gas tata man masasangan pamalawan ni manalum gi militan na they're gonna be this, that, and the other. Peling nga si tataw jangan eno malagunya pong ligini kita timputta they can be this, that, and the other. And I am so grateful for my father being a forward thinker. He was born 1899. He gave me the go-ahead. Ungan 22 años lo at that time you still need your father's permission pretty much to do anything. If you live under his roof. Pues, yun is a blessing. The besangan is the best thing. Let's just put it this way. Kada mati jaku veteran pension. I thank him. Thank you, Dad. So, who's to know what's going to become when your children leave and you become old and you have only you. So yeah, he guided me, and that's the best thing a parent can do, is believe in your children and let them go.
So, kulang pumarewa isinintemu antes yun halum gi militar. Dan anay, pumarewa isinintemu antes yun halum gi militar, sa pwede mo militar si tatamu, dan isinintemu ganay gaygo gi militar.
Honestly, I never regretted any moment gitempo ko gi militar. Esta que malak no zo ja umam ko zo do bira tati gini gitanota. But that's another story. Esta no gaya na sentimento hujung gi YouTube na ma interview jo. But it is not wavering from my anything I've gone through. I've not regretted having joined. Ti taja baba apa sino sangan pudi tratamiento militar gita guahu mismo. Bulaw li lo manonggilo tuloki ni ipalabra. For every action, there's a reaction. Pues, si tatahu napatatung do papa na pleku pa behalum dalinga asu na sina benti itiningo mo sa mo na mauli lo mga Mga maket di roga, I mafanagwemo, chogi itinago niya sa todo tempo siya mandinansi. So, pues están tungwa na malumaw kita gano esti militar. You may not like everything they do, but that's the prescription. You must do because you're wearing the uniform.
Pues, gua siya tinigo mo no adzu I manggatsong mo, but ejun tungo siya sinay magas mo, pan magas mo siya niya di, man halim gimlitat sa man fun hajan isit bisyon niya.
Ungan, bula. Load. The sad part of it is bula loki manhujan man malongo. Man malongo ja itempo ni inalomho ena isais anyos sa umasagado sa sanganyos sa tao na the first responsibility is nana the nasagwa. Daling is sa tao you cannot serve two masters. Sa tisinyaw sa ngani imilitar nangana da sabi patinasya sa na niya sa popototo yung no. See you don't report sa sa expression in militar. If the military wanted you to have children, they would have issued you one. But I did not want to hear that. But I still I knew my place. Bula man halum man retired. Treste lulalahi. The mangera. It's a lumas patgun gumera ge desert storm. Malongo pago. The amkonya to. Pues the Paraguay, the biggest detriment ni po halum patgun or hobincito is there's that big chance na Zania, the Somaga 24, the Gumera, Afghanistan, pues todos patgun militar. Yagahu Air Force veteran, Ilahihu Army veteran. Ja utaytaiji kada dia sa ti physical ha nagunlili iminalongo imento. Bula maninati the manamasi. The estibe sangan na necessita Veterans Administration hype up serviço niya. Todo veterano. Como retired, patemo retired. Sa tinahong bidaninya pa ninasa biniya ni Ami.
Pues contento hao ano gikwentas mo na contento hao ni set besyo ni ma-ofreci hao ni militar como veterano lo unsangan na esta dididi podena sina mas unsangan mas ko contento hao
Contento ho ni Paraguahu lo kaya pareho hafa na inali or hafa society para edusay mangera. Kaya sina makubito na di pabay kwintusiha or di every 2 months uliyo sa and let's say for example edi man diabetes edi man mapupulan mas jantoda man mapupulan lokalan guahan na departamento na they fail the one that most needs it. The anuli Gonna manaso them Hawaii. How many mangaigi gini Guam? Unfortunate but true. Nisita benfanano pa Hawaii pa benfan Manli specialist. And the guy gets to Arizona, I just had to drive 45 minutes to see any kind of specialist. But of course, granted, our geographical location makes it that.
Pois estão sangana siya hafa na minaulit. Para hago, jan hafa ti maulit gisit bisyu siya para veterano. Sa kalan usangana po neno siya. Ko mas fit mi ningemu como ciudadano Amerika hao. Par ko guadinida después de tigumera hao hunggan. Ti umano hao anay guys mismo igera. Lo dangkulu patemu masyati matua o Vietnam. Yan ay gaigio.
Unggan, maguvtu na todo sam ni man train ni do na to whatever job it was, be it medical, communication, admin. Magufu na hamini pamalawan, especially eduna tempo I 70s, 60s, na they saw the benefit of having us on the sideline. Guanaman mana pamputiam ni ilalahi na veteranos ni pamaalo. Wa unu mismo sumano, you're not a veteran. The mahami matoto. Like, well, I'm glad that's only your opinion. Okay. Sa timatungo na, although we did not do the physical work, a lot of mental stress came into that. Just reading, and I'm breaking down at the copier machine. Sa untungo, pamasyat untungo, gagay patgun, gagay chelu. But, and that's neither here nor there. Zangan pa makomprendi na the war didn't end with just male veterans. The women were there, okay? And like I said, masya hapa na puesto izana training. They were there 8 to 12-hour days and always on their tippy toes go pomanapanano. But kudos to all parents that allowed their children back in the 60s, 70s. My father was one of them. And he set me up good by going down to the MEPS entrance station and watching me as I swore in. That was put on the PDN, and I never forgot that day. And at this age, you just turn around and look up and say, "Thank you, Dad."
So, hafa paugusa po di veterano hao, the eno todo na experience mo, hafa sinya na mensahe sinya nai, imanhoben ni I plumaneniha na para ufanhalom gi militat.
Gi pinalofan I linatla. Taja garantia in anything. There's no guarantee in anything. Pues angin malago au humalum sa ipinalupanu ti edja I training. It had made me a very independent person. So there are days managdi familia, you only have a good friend that he Pino English, I've got your back. You have to know that you got to know that you need to trust other people other than just family. I got your back goes a long way. You start out as strangers and you have lasting friends. I have friends that are on my Facebook. We were all in the military from Alaska to Georgia. Yeah, we were always on call. We can be barbecuing and then somebody got a call. You got to go. So follow your intuition. Follow your belief in yourself that you will make it. You will make the most of it. But definitely don't go on thinking that you won't change, that you can change them. Doesn't happen. They will change you. And it's a good change because your learning doesn't stop at your MOS, your military occupational specialty. You become a well-rounded person, ready to adventure into anything that you don't know. After all, it had started me up, and you do go from one place to the other, but where you land is part of your stepping stone, your growth. And I guess it's all what you make it. If you enjoy what you're doing in anything, be it military, be it whatever you're doing now, if you want to make that your lifetime career, then do it. Just every day, strive to make it better.
Pues, iultimo na question para Hagu.
Okay.
Jajangin puntutuhun au talo. Di nuevo. Ko para un haluma ti un tulaika I para un halum gi militar. Ko para un haluma talo gi militar. Jangin sinya un tulaika. Tati I lina lamu vina tempo ginan decidi para un halum gi militar. Pago sa bumitirano sa experiência todo este sia gi militar. Ko para un haluma talo.
Ungan, lo bentibe tibe halung na be halung gene lahu bino sa ane 18-19 ditungu tabe pa malago ugi na tempo. Sa música escuela yo da umbisene esta 22 esta para monadan gi colegio. Lo I had to do it then. As soon as March 30, still spring semester. Lo pude edumasitahu na pabe halum to catch that cycle. Withdraw. Withdraw sa mago sa sempianti withdraw to tuli na toto. That was open.
Mm.
But the question is, if I had it to do over again, yes. No regrets. It has led me up to where I am now, and it has really been a major part of building my life to a secure, comfortable, adventurous life. And everything I learned about cross-country travels from Alaska to Virginia, back and forth, it was great. It teaches you more than you could ever learn sitting in school. But I do not by any way say do not go to school. You can go to school and still join and become an officer. Although for me, being an enlisted person was more fun.
Pues
Yeah.
enoha emi si dus maasi.
Jesus Masi Terry, Pedestinel Putanada.